Well, Small Business Week is intended to recognize and appreciate the risks that entrepreneurs take and the rewards that they reap every day. After all, as any small business owner can attest, it ain't easy. But that said, are some entrepreneurs making it harder than it needs to be? Could they be experiencing less stress and more success? Richard Whitworth is Managing Director of Business Consulting for Satira Investment Management. And you point out that a startling number of small business owners are not following a written business plan, for example, or not utilizing key resources that are available to them. Essentially, there are a fair number of entrepreneurs across all business segments who are out there flying blind, more or less, just kind of along for the ride.
Well, Chris, it's interesting you say that in terms of that, having that strategic vision as well as that tactical focus on execution is, I think, one of both the challenges and opportunities for all small businesses, regardless of the segment of industry that they're in. Specifically within Satira Financial Group, we're working with about 8,000 financial advisors who cut across all aspects of Main Street America. And what we see working with them specifically as small business owners is exactly what you said, is they've got a great idea, they have a great bent to client service and making sure that they exceed client expectations. But I think all business owners have an opportunity to more formally manage the business through a practice management and a business management exercise. You don't need to have gone to Harvard or Stanford and gotten an MBA to understand that there's certain economic drivers that are going to work for a business. Making sure that you have a really good handle on the financial metrics of your firm. Not 100 different metrics to march towards, but 3 to 5 key metrics. Be that revenue per professional, or number of clients that a support staff person is managing from a client service standpoint. These are a few key metrics that all businesses should look at, because if you're not empirically managing to the bottom line, you can both miss opportunities for growth in your business, and more importantly, you may make missteps along the way which could easily be corrected by just having a little bit more of a formal planning process in place that you're able to leverage and look at on a daily basis.
Yeah, because the last thing you want to do is look around and say, hey, my business is falling off. How in the world did this happen? And as you said, a lot of times if you dig down into those numbers and figure it all out, you can pretty much see how it's happening.
Very much so, Chris. It all sort of is predicated upon the idea of business planning should be a continual process for business owners. It shouldn't be something that happens seasonally at the end of the year, where then over the holidays somebody's working on a plan for the forthcoming 12 months, and then inevitably, as you get back to business as the new year turns over, it becomes a paperweight on the side of the desk, and you haphazardly at best achieve objectives, but more so than that, chances are you missed opportunities.
Yeah. I am curious to ask you about this because, again, your specialty is in the financial services sector, and obviously we talk a lot about the economy and where is the economy going, and I would imagine those individuals that you work with have a unique pulse on that with respect to what is the current business environment do you find for these individual Main Street financial advisors?
Chris, that's a great question, and the great part about working with independent advisors is that they're a good pulse of what's happening in the economy at large, because these financial advisors are working with the teacher and the firefighter and the police officer as much as they're working with other small, closely held business owners. Right. And I think by and large, everyone has a very positive sentiment about where we are in the economic cycle. If you saw the GDP numbers that came out recently, if you see a lot of the top-line leading indicators in the economy, we're still in a positive trajectory. There's still a lot of growth opportunity within the market right now. Businesses are still finding ways to access capital to increase capacity so that they can work with more clients. And we're also seeing clients come with new ideas. From our standpoint, from an investable assets, there's a lot of money in motion. When we talk about that intergenerational wealth transfer, this $46 trillion that's going to change hands over the next 15 to 20 years from the baby boomers to the Gen X, Gen Ys, and ultimately to the millennials, who, by the way, are already 30 years old. So they're not as young as people think they are. There's a lot of upside potential to the market right now.
With respect to that, and it does bring up an interesting, it kind of cycles back to, again, some entrepreneurs, some small business owners maybe making things a little more difficult than they necessarily have to be. One key part of business planning is succession planning and business continuity, those types of issues?
Very much so, Chris. When we think about business continuity, I like to separate it into three specific areas. One, and first and foremost, is the physical business continuity. What happens if there is a daily disruption in the ability of the business to service the clients, be it from a natural disaster or just the power grid goes out? How are you going to be prepared to work remotely or contact your clients if there's that business disruption? The second component of it is continuity. What happens if I, as the principal owner and operator of a business, am out of pocket for a period of time from either disability or I'm just ready to take that 3-week vacation to Europe that my spouse has always wanted? You have to have the systems and procedures in place so that the business can operate without the principal in the driver's seat for a period of time. And if you've done both the physical business continuity and then the owner continuity, then the next part of it is the succession plan. What's the orderly exit of the business from that principal, that Generation 1 owner? Because ultimately, all the growth that a business owner hopes to achieve shouldn't just be for the sake of growth. It should ultimately be for driving economic and enterprise value within the organization. That at some point, that business owner is going to be able to monetize and take out an extract, knowing that the sale of that closely held small business is the largest component of the business owner's retirement windfall that they're going to see. Their life's work and their legacy is what they can really solve for with a formal succession plan.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. That this is more than just a business. You poured all of your hard work and sweat and all of this into this, but it is also a financial issue in terms of your nest egg, your future. And how many times have we seen that? We see it here all the time, where a business, an otherwise successful business, will end up closing simply because the owners decided to retire and there's no succession plan in place and there's no buyers out there on the open market, and it really is a shame.
Absolutely, and and to me, and I think with a lot of the business owners that we work with, and I'm going to say it for business owners at large, everyone has a client service mentality. And everyone wants to make sure that after your life's work, your time, talent, and treasure that you've poured into your business, you want to make sure that your clients are taken care of, which is the beauty of owning a small business, is that you can drive that client retention and ultimately build your legacy. And that's what a succession plan allows you to do. Not only monetize the business and your life's work, but pass on that life's work to someone else who's going to carry forward the legacy and ensure that the client service dynamic is going to be maintained.
And you bring up a good point, too, and just to underscore this, it's about more than just what happens when you are ready to retire or ready to turn this over to a new generation. It's, again, how many times do we see business owners who say, I've not had a vacation in 20 years. Part of being your own boss is being able to a certain extent, set your own schedule. If you are that type of person who's never had a vacation, has never had a day off, then that you could be doing better in that respect as well.
Absolutely.
Again, Richard Whitworth is Managing Director of Cetera Financial Group's business consulting organization. Talking about a lot of stuff there for folks to think about with respect to Small Business Week. Where do folks learn more?
Sure. So the easiest way is to reach out and take a look at us on our website. It's www.cetera.com. Within that, you can learn about the 6 independent broker-dealers who make up Cetera Financial Group and how our advisors can work with you as a small business owner as well as just a Main Street investing American. I think that the beauty of having 8,000 advisors is that we have people who have business models that can hit pretty much everything that an everyday American needs to have so that they can enjoy both financial well-being as well as financial happiness as they go through their lives.
Small business owners helping other small business owners. Great stuff there. Richard Whitworth, thanks very much for taking the time. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris. Have a great day.